Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us with the first episode of Managing Through Crisis, Creating Value Towards the Next Normal and Executive Perspective. We are very fortunate to have two distinguished guests to be with us today. Without further ado, let me introduce to you our first guest. PHINMA is a holding company with investments in construction materials, education, property development, and business processing and outsourcing. The pandemic adversely affected the profitability of most businesses, but PHINMA managed to remain profitable. And now we have the opportunity to learn more about PHINMA's businesses and prospects as the country emerges from the pandemic. Introducing our speaker, he was appointed Executive Vice President for Construction Materials of PHINMA Corporation. He is the President and CEO of UGC Phil Cement and PHINMA Solar. He has held the roles for this company since 2017. He is also a Director of UGC, Phil Cement, PHINMA Solar, PHINMA Property Holdings Corporation, TO Insurance Brokers Inc., PHINMA Renewable Energy Corporation, and a member of the Board of Trustees of PHINMA Foundation Inc. Concurrently, he is an independent director of PS Bank and chairman of EdCommerce Corporation. He was previously a director of president of Holcim Philippines Inc., a director of Holcim Philippines Manufacturing Corporation, and chairman of Holcim Mining and Development Corporation. In 1994, he obtained his graduate degree in management science from Arthur D. Little Management Education Institute, now called Holt International Business School in Cambridge. Prior to that, he obtained his MBA from the Ateneo Graduate School of Business. He also attended the Senior Management Program, Senior Leadership Program, and Managing Change Program at the Institute for Management Development based in Lausanne, Switzerland. In 1978, he obtained his Bachelor's of Science in Commerce degree, major in accounting from Holy Angel University. Mr. Andy Henson, part of our team, will now be interviewing PHINMA's Executive Vice President for Construction Materials, Mr. Eduardo Sahagun.
Thank you, Sarah. I'd like to welcome Mr. Ed Sahagun. Thank you, Sir Ed, for accepting our invitation. Hi, sir.
Hi, Andy. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Okay, sir, to start, Sir Ed, can you give us a brief history of PHINMA?
Well, of course, I joined PHINMA in 1979, but PHINMA was founded in 1956 by three visionaries and industrialists led by Ambassador Ramon del Rosario, Ernesto Escaler, and Don Pilemon Rodriguez. Oh. So these three visionaries have actually started PHINMA. Okay. In fact, they actually bought SEPOC in 1957, and that was the first privatization that was done by government at the time. And SEPOC was known to be the Baknotan Consolidated Industries in the 80s. That has close to 50% market share on cement at the time. PHINMA temporarily exited cement when they sold to Holcim in 2002. But also at the time, so I joined Holcim temporarily and rejoined them in 2017. So, but even that, even they temporarily left cement, but they were part of the board of Holcim until in 2015, when they expressed to the management that they will bid in the sale of Lafarge. And of course, because of the conflicting interest, they all resigned in the board. But their desire to be in cement has been there since the start. So that's PHINMA. Of course, in steel, they invested in 1963 and up to now, initially as a roofing business. In first plant is in Poro, La Union. And right now, after more than 64 years, we have been offering more than steel roofing business. We are into light metal frame because there is no more wood. We're into deck. We're into insulated panel, pre-engineered building, and so on. Just a couple of years ago, we decided to put up PHINMA Solar. It's not by accident that we put these three companies together because of the synergy of the three companies. When you construct a building, you will first buy cement.
Yes.
And then after 2 months, you want to look for a roofing supplier. And so that's UGC. After completing your roof, you probably can be offered with the rooftop solar.
Yes.
I think the question is, why just rooftop solar? From my perspective, is nice you have a solar farm, but in the end, a country like ours where we are dependent on rice and
Yeah.
corn, it's sad to see that some of this will be converted into power
Yes.
generations and eventually may impact food security. So we thought that we have so much roof in this country and there you don't get
Yes.
anything. So you might as well get power out
Yes.
of this roof. And I think that's the philosophy out of these three companies together under the CMD in my leadership. So today, PHINMA is managed by, of course, no other than Oscar Hilado, our chairman, Dr. Magdalena Orbarzin, of course, Mr. Del Rosario, Ramon Del Rosario. We're lucky to have them because aside from looking at today, they have a background of what was before. So the values
Yes.
was there for PHINMA being a professionally run companies, integrity, and so on. Some of the well-known personality for PHINMA is like Ting Paterno, if you remember, and also
Yes.
Bong Tangco. So
Yes. I
Ting
know.
Paterno was actually part of the engineering team of PHINMA. I think I was told Bong Tangco was part of HR. So those are the people that actually have connections with PHINMA. Today, the board of director, apart from the three, comprised of course, some other well-known personality, Miss Lilia de Lima, for example, Johnny Santos, etc. So we're getting from the experience of these people
Yes.
and be able to give us their view and visions on how we will deal about just like what we have today, the black swan that just recently appeared uh, in our business scenario. So I
Yes.
think that that partially explain why PHINMA, despite of this pandemic, remain profitable because of our philosophy of
Mm.
when you put up a company, make sure you build in certain um, um, risks and opportunities that is probably available in that environment, and that can only be done if you have good people and organize yourself that way. Just like an airline company, why planes have in the past 4 engines, so they look at possible risk.
Yes.
Or now two, or yeah, they can land in one engine and so on.
Mhm.
It has to be built that way. Otherwise, when things are really rough, you can easily disintegrate. This is my third crisis, but it's a different crisis altogether. The first one in the 70s is the oil crisis.
Yes.
The 1987 financial crisis, we're still here. So now we have this pandemic, and we thought that with all the crises that we have gone through, we actually more or less know how to get in and out of this crisis. And
Yes. Yes.